happy day one of NFL free agency, Vikings fans. We got some breaking news to kick it off. The Vikings are officially re-signing linebacker Eric Wilson to a 3-year, $22.5 million deal. Now, obviously, Eric Wilson had a fantastic year for Brian Flores and this defense. He really used him. It's almost like a Swiss Army knife. He would blitz him on a lot of key downs, and I still remember a couple of those Lions games where Flores was blitzing Eric Wilson like a madman, and he was just forcing Jahmyr Gibbs or David Montgomery to pick him up in blitz protection. They couldn't handle him, and he ended up having a great game. But he had a great year with the Minnesota Vikings. There's no doubt about it. But I will say, the price tag's a little much. 3 years, $22.5 million for a linebacker who just had the best year of his career, 31 years old. But also on the other hand, do you really want to go into free agency with a huge need at the linebacker spot next to Blake Cashman? Vikings didn't feel comfortable doing that. Now, I don't think this completely rules out Minnesota drafting a linebacker potentially on day 2 or early day 3 of the NFL draft. So I like this deal, not necessarily love it. I do think it is a slight overpay for Eric Wilson. But again, he had a fantastic season. Maybe Brian Flores just views him as a guy where it's like, hey, we can't let him go. Like, he knows the system very well. He's going to be a huge part for us. So like it, don't love the move. Now coming up, I did film a full video diving into some free agent targets yesterday before I left the office. So I'll play that for you guys. But again, we will be live here on the channel at 10 a.m. today. 10 a.m. sharp. We will be live. Make sure you guys tune in then. Keep you guys posted on everything. And we are officially on Kyler Murray watch here on the channel. So make sure you guys tune in then. Let's dive into this rest of today's show. NFL free agency is finally here. Coming up on today's edition of Vikings Now by Chat Sports, some last-minute Vikings free agent targets that you guys need to know about for 2026 NFL free agency. And now, by the time you guys are watching this video, we are probably live here on the channel. So just hit that live button, hop in the live chat, hang out, because we will be live not just today, but all of NFL free agency, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So hit that subscribe button. Join us today. We are going live at 10 a.m. Central Time. So if it's already then or past then, hop in the live chat and join us. But if it's not, wait in the live chat, get in there at 10 o'clock, and join us for our live coverage. All right, let's look at some of the top positions of need for the Minnesota Vikings. So I've narrowed it down to these 6. I think number 1, safety, cornerback, more talent in the secondary is a huge need for the Minnesota Vikings. I think then off-ball linebacker next to Blake Cashman's a dire need. You could also make an argument for defensive tackle, now with no Hargrave, no Jonathan Allen. And then for the last one, I put RB2 with no Aaron Jones anymore next to Jordan Mason, and also just a center with Ryan Kelly retiring. But let's start off with probably the priciest free agent we're going to talk about today. Now, a lot of these names we're going to dive into are bargain deals, because I fully expect the Vikings to be bargain shopping during NFL free agency. But how about a guy like Brian Cook? Now, Brian Cook will probably sign a 3-year, $46 million deal, and for right reason. He is one of the better safeties in the National Football League. A great coverage guy. Also, he's an elite tackler. Any of these Kansas City Chiefs we talk about today, they're all elite tacklers. Like whether that's Leo Chanel, Jaylen Watson, all of these guys are elite tacklers in the open field. With obviously Brian Flores, what he demands of his secondary, that's a huge plus in terms of the Vikings evaluating potentially Brian Cook. But watch out for him. Again, a pricier free agent. I think he's a little unlikely, but a guy who I do think is very likely. And if I had to call my shot on the Vikings signing one player in NFL free agency, give me former Steelers cornerback James Pierre. Now, James Pierre, very underrated in my opinion. He had a phenomenal season this past year for Pittsburgh, playing in 14 games, was elite in coverage. I mean, only allowed 14 completions while getting targeted 33 times. And he had 11 PBUs, 1 pick, only allowed 142 yards as well. Now, why am I calling my shot on James Pierre? Well, Vikings defensive pass game coordinator, Gerald Alexander, brought in this offseason from Pittsburgh, who has obviously a connection where he was their pass game coordinator and secondaries coach, coaching up James Pierre. Pierre will probably get a cheap 1-2-year deal. Vikings go bargain shopping at corner. That's going to be the one guy I'm going to call them signing. Now, how about a center here, which I think would be a pretty good pickup for the Minnesota Vikings? Cade Mays was recently with the Carolina Panthers this past season, and he's just a middle-of-the-pack center. Like, he's not a guy where he's going to blow you away. He's honestly very similar to the guy like Garrett Bradbury funny enough, but his overall PFF grade was 62.4. That was 27th in the league. A better pass blocker than a run blocker, but 0 sacks allowed, only 11 pressures allowed. So solid stuff there. But again, if maybe the Vikings want to go like a stopgap guy for a 1 or 2 year deal, I would have interest in Mays. But if they give him like a 3-4 year contract, I would rather just prefer them maybe draft a guy day 2 or day 3 and then just have Blake Brandel kind of be that stopgap center early on in the season. Number 4 here, Nakobe Dean, Eagles, linebacker. Big fan of Nakobe Dean. Now, he does remind me a whole lot of Eric Wilson, and I would prefer the Vikings to just bring back Eric Wilson. I think that'll be a big-time re-signing for Minnesota, but this guy, he is Eric Wilson. I mean, he's not going to be great in coverage. He will struggle on the back end, but if you want a guy who can just kind of be that chess piece for Brian Flores where you're blitzing him 90% of the time, and he's just kind of saying, hey, you see ball, you go get ball, and just let this guy play with instincts. He does make a lot of sense. Does struggle in coverage a little bit. And his run defense grade wasn't too great this past season, but watch out for him on maybe a 3-year, $30 million deal. Now, a corner that will probably get paid actually a decent amount, maybe around $13 to $15 million, is New York Giants cornerback Cordell Flott. Cordell Flott, he's going to be 25 years old. He has a lot of versatility, so that's why I'm putting him on this list. He can play nickel. He can play outside. And he had a solid season. I think he's like a solid cornerback 2, cornerback 3 for a team. Like, if you have him like next to a Christian Gonzalez, next to a Pat Surtain, like that's really where he thrives. And with the Minnesota Vikings joining Byron Murphy, Isaiah Rodgers, it would have a decent trio of cornerbacks. But still, the Vikings are still missing like that elite top-end corner, which I wish they would eventually get. And Cordell Flott's not that, but maybe the Vikings want to sign another cornerback to like that Byron Murphy Jr. deal where they're giving them like 3 for 54 with 30 guaranteed. I could see Flott being on the Vikings' radar. Now, you guys let me know, who do you want down below in the comments section? Name a free agent you want the Minnesota Vikings to sign. Who is it? Get creative for me. Maybe it's a guy we're not talking about on today's show, but drop that name down below. Now, we'll get to 5 more names here in just a second, but let me tell you guys about today's sponsor, and that's Factor Meals. Now, head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and use promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off and free breakfast for a year. Cold days are here, but if you guys still got some big-time goals but no time to cook, well, Factor makes healthy eating easy with fully prepared meals designed by dietitians and crafted by chefs. So eat well without the planning or cooking. Factor has quality functional ingredients, including lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole food ingredients, and healthy fats. No refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, no refined seed oils, meals that fit your goals and schedule, healthier eating, calorie management, more protein. That is Factor. Factor also has over 100 rotating weekly meals to keep things fresh and delicious through winter. So head on over to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off. Plug in the promo code VikingsChat50 off. Get hooked up with 50% off and free breakfast for a year. Eat like a pro this month with Factor. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. 1 free breakfast item per box for 1 year while your subscription is active. That link is in the comment section and description of today's show. All right, let's move on here to another free agent target for your Minnesota Vikings. That's going to be safety from the Philadelphia Eagles, Reed Blankenship. Now, Reed Blankenship, you look at his PFF grades, you might be saying to yourself, yikes, did not have a good 2025 season. And no, he did not. He was ranked in the 100th for a couple of key categories, overall grade and coverage grade. But this guy's played a lot of big-time football in his career. You know, playing in playoff games, playing in Super Bowls, being that connector on the back end for always a very, very good Eagles defense. Has some versatility. Could make sense with Flores on potentially a 1-year stopgap $3-4 million deal. Now, the only running back that I want the Vikings to target during free agency, and I've seen a lot of people disagree with this, the only guy I'm bringing in is Kenneth Gainwell. If it's not Kenneth Gainwell, you draft a running back. But why do I want Kenneth Gainwell? Is because I think he is a perfect complement next to Jordan Mason. He's an elite pass catcher. He had over 486 receiving yards this past season, 8 total touchdowns. He runs pretty well as well. So if you're going to sign a running back, have it be Kenneth Gainwell. Don't overpay for Kenneth Walker. Don't overpay, for any of these top running backs. Travis Etienne on the market. Go get Kenneth Gainwell. He would be one of my top choices. Honestly, out of all Vikings free agent targets. How about a linebacker here? Quay Walker, former first-round pick of the Green Bay Packers. Now, the Packers just traded for Zaire Franklin this past weekend. So they're probably not going to bring him back, and he's a polarizing choice. If you ask Packers fans, what do you think about Quay Walker? They all will say he stinks, and he has been very bad the last couple of years, especially in 2025. Really did struggle. Has not seen him break out whatsoever. If the Vikings are thinking about linebackers, if it's Quay Walker or Leo Chanel, go Leo Chanel. I really like him. Chiefs linebacker, limited role the past couple of seasons, but I could see him having like a Nick or a Zach Bond-esque breakout if he gets a full-time role. Now another safety here on a cheap bargain deal, and he's not a needle mover by any means, but he is a good ball hawk. Was hurt this past season with the New York Jets, but Andre Sisco could be an intriguing option. Does offer you versatility, mainly a free safety, but he is a ball hawk on the back end, and he could be a guy that the Vikings bring in for a cheap 1 year, $3-4 million deal. Just get more talent on the back end of that defense. Maybe they aren't comfortable with taking a guy at pick number 18. Andre Sisco could make some sense. Now, another cornerback here to round out today's list, Jaylen Watson again, just like we were saying with Brian Cook, hell of a tackler. This guy will break down, make the correct form tackle. That's what he's been doing his entire career with the Kansas City Chiefs, former 7th-round pick, funny enough. But I expect the Chiefs to bring him back. With them moving off Trent McDuffie, getting a bunch of draft capital, not wanting to pay him, I'm guessing they're going to pay Jaylen Watson. This guy deserves it. He's a hell of a cornerback, makes a lot of big-time plays, played in a lot of big-time playoff games as well. So he's another corner that I'm keeping my eye on for the Minnesota Vikings. Now, if you guys made it to the end of today's show, appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Give me a skull down below in the comment section. And remember, join our live coverage. We're live right now here on the channel. See you guys next time. Skull Vikes.